There was a reason why Jeffrey Epstein existed. It was to make sure he got
Mm.
compromat on all those people. I mean, that's what the Mossad does. That's what they do. They
Hmm.
get blackmail on powerful people. You don't think Bill Clinton? I mean, come on. I mean, how
Hmm.
many times did he go to that island?
Yeah, probably 20 something.
Yeah, right. Probably even more.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's how they get that. That's their MO. And you think you think they stopped with Jeffrey Epstein?
No,
You think that
that's
he was the only one?
no,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not just people think it's APAC and stuff, but it's not just that, which APAC does have a ridiculous amount of power.
Right.
It's also a lot of the donors. Look, the Democratic donors, they're almost all Jews, Zionists. Look at Trump's top donors, all Jews. So it's you look at that, and then you look at the blackmail option, and we don't know how extensive that is because obviously Epstein, but there's probably multiple ones.
Yeah.
There's
He can't be the only one.
Diddy might be one. There's
Right.
well, the Meyer Lansky allegedly had blackmail operations, and he had supposedly J. Edgar Hoover dressed like a girl, like giving a guy a blowjob. So it's something that goes far back. They've been doing. I doubt we've caught them all. There's probably multi blackmail operations. It goes,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's definitely he wasn't the only one.
Which one of these things, like I don't know how we cleanse our government because it's so deep. The people are turning against Israel, but they seem to have complete control, especially the Republican Party. Which to me, I never considered myself Republican or Democrat, but I leaned that direction.
Uh-huh.
And it's been just now I'm completely homeless. Just all they do is just suck his belly, just nonstop, and just tweeting out. Have you seen the tweets they send? It's just
it's stomach churning.
It's just I can't tolerate it. It's like I can't have anything to do with that party at this point.
Yeah, I left the Democratic Party after they cheated Bernie,
Mm-hmm.
and Bernie didn't do anything about it.
So
He went right. He tucked his tail like a good little boy, and like a cuck, and went right along with it. And I was like, no, I'm done with them. No, although I did back Tulsi, but she was on the outs. The Democratic Party hated her at the time,
Yeah.
And no, I haven't voted for a Democrat in a long time.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to vote this election. I'm probably not. I can't. I think Trump's probably better. I think Kamala's probably the worst presidential candidate of all time potentially, but I just can't put my name behind Trump when he's pushing for this genocide.
Yeah, I have a red line. That's what Brett Weinstein asked me. We were on a Twitter space, and he said, "Jimmy, what would it take to get your vote for Donald Trump?" And I said, "Well, I have a red line when it comes to genocide, and I don't think he's changing on that rhetoric. So come get my vote. Tell me that." You're going to advocate for a two-state solution. You're going to stop, funding and sending bombs to Netanyahu, and then we can have a conversation. But that's not happening. So
no, I just can't. I can't put my vote behind him. I lost like thousands of followers criticizing Trump, but I can't go with the guy who just says he'll do everything for Israel. He says basically he wants to make the Israeli lobby even stronger. It's like I can't put my name behind that.
And he wants to curtail free speech. And so when I went to that Rescue the Republic and I gave my speech and I said, when I grew up in Chicago, there was a suburb called Skokie, which a lot of Jews lived there, and the Nazis, literal Nazis, would have a march every year right through Skokie to try to piss them off. But the Jews in Skokie allowed them to have their march because they loved freedom of speech more than they hated those Nazis. And I said, if they can do that, we have to also stand up for the right of free speech of Palestinian protesters in the United States. The freedom of speech isn't for speech we like, it's for speech we hate. And if you hate that, and if you stand up for that, then that we all have the same power. But if they can take this power of the speech and protest rights away from them, they can take it away from us too. That's what you have to keep in mind. I'm the only one who brought it up in that whole 6-hour event. I was the only one who brought it up.
I couldn't agree more. I'm a huge free speech absolutist, and that includes speech I hate. If you don't count what you hate, it's not free speech.
That's right.
And that's what I thought the Republican Party had turned into the free speech party. Then after this war, all the guys started anti-war. After this war started, or after October 7th, they started pushing. Oh, let's give more money to Israel. Let's do anti-Semitic speech. Anti-Semitic is always changing. It's criticizing it has no meaning. It doesn't mean you hate Jews. But even if it does, I still have a constitutional right to hate Jews if I want to. So it's
that's why can't I have the same rights as a fourth grader? I get to hate shit. Why can't I hate Tim Walz and his Taco Tuesdays?
Yeah, I do hate him. And that's the thing. Everyone's like, oh, so you support Kamala because you don't support Trump. And it's like, no, that's not how it works. These people are.
Yeah, try to tell a Kamala supporter, try to criticize Kamala and then tell them you don't support Trump. They don't know what to do with that. They just go, yes, you are. You do support Trump.
It's weird how both sides. I mean, because my audience is more right leaning. They're always attacking me, being like, "You support Kamala," but so it's more the opposite. But it's
Ah,
like, no, I don't. I don't support either. And if I was forced to vote, I'd go for Trump. But I just, like I said, the red line is genocide for me. I can't with good
well,
conscience vote for someone.
well, it's funny that Trump is a case could be made that he's the lesser of two evil because he promises to end the war in
Mm,
Ukraine, whereas Kamala Harris promises to ramp it up and keep it going
yeah,
forever. So at least on that basis,
yeah. No, I would vote for him if he would just give a little, but he's not. It's just so over the top. Like they need to finish the war. They can do whatever they want. He did finally, because he was going hard on Iran, but he did finally say he doesn't want regime change in Iran. That would be a massive war that could bring Russia in.
yes, exactly
Mm,
right. Yeah. So it's a shit show, and how do we get out of it? I don't know. I don't know how to start a real revolution. I
mm,
keep saying we need one. I don't know how to, you know. The problem is like like that longshoremen's union leader. We need a guy like that. Shut
mm,
shit down. We want money out of politics. We want stuff like we want hand counted paper
hmm
ballots.
Yeah, the
So
machines are ridiculous.
yeah, of course. The Democrats used to scream about how easily those voting machines were hacked, and they stopped when 2020. Isn't that interesting? They never talk
Hmm
about it anymore
Yeah, because they don't, because they, yeah, and well, you
because
couldn't,
they
you couldn't
realize
even
it's
say it
big.
could have been stolen. Which I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know if it was or wasn't, but of course elections can be stolen.
yeah. I think it's naive to think that the CIA would rig votes and overthrow governments in other countries, but they wouldn't do that here.
Exactly, and we know for sure they've done it in a lot of other countries.
Of course,
It seemed like
they
they were just
brag about
trying.
it.
They were just trying in Venezuela.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm,
So that's another bad thing about you know uh, Elon Musk. That Venezuela, it really rubs me the wrong way to see him say that shit at Trump rallies, and nobody, and Trump won't even correct. Trump was a Juan Guaido guy. You remember
hmm
that Juan Guaido?
Well, who's that?
So when they tried to overthrow the government in Venezuela, the Western capitalists chose this guy Juan Guaido as the real leader.
Okay.
He's the real leader. He was no, the people of Venezuela hate that guy.
Mm,
And so Trump brought him to the State of the Union. Oh, here's our real leader. We're fighting against dictators. And hey, let Venezuela figure out. Hey, let's say their election wasn't on the up and up. So let them figure it out. Right? Nobody came in and invaded America over the 2020 election
hmm
or the 2016 election, even though Hillary Clinton said it was thrown by Russia, or the 2000 election with George Bush. Right?
hmm
So many people said that was so, but we can figure it out. Let us, just like you want other countries to leave us to figure out our
Yeah,
elect.
leave them
We
alone.
should leave Venezuela alone, and you quit sanctioning them if they're socialist government, which it barely is, by the way. Uh, is such a bad form of economy. Why don't you let them fail or succeed on their own? Just like with Cuba. Why do we got to sanction the shit out of them?
Yeah, I don't understand why we sanction Cuba still. They haven't been a threat in so many years, and we still have sanctions. Doesn't make
Because
any
we
sense.
can't allow a good example of socialism.
Hmm
The economic hitmen in the West cannot have a good example, and that's what that is. The same thing Maduro, how he's helped people, brought them out of poverty.
hmm
They can't have that.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not extreme on right or left. I think there are instances where they could work, and I think most people are good people and want the better, and that's what you've been good at, realizing like, oh, the right and the left, we both want the same thing, and they keep us fighting over the stupid
That's right.
stuff, yelling communist, fascist, when
Yes.
really we're all trying to get make more money, do better, help each other, but
Right.
they do a great job of keeping each other's throats.